A republic, if you can keep it. Spoilers, they couldn't. We're taking a look at Decision Games' Germantown, the second in a series of, so far as I know, 2 American Revolution war games. In this case, of course, the Battle of Germantown. Hey, it's an unboxing! You're an unbagging, if you will. Let's take a look. I could score some cheap and easy content out of this by showing you what's in the bag. It appears to be some sort of counters. This is all you need. It's all you get. The bright yellow are status counters. We've got some, colonial, what we think of as Americans today. Militia in the light blue, regulars in the dark blue, British in the red, and Germans in the gray. And then I think, what is this guy? The Tories? I think that's irregular. The only status we got is a turn counter that's clear and foggy, and then, of course, they can form square if they need to. That might be important because, unlike the last video we did, this time we got to deal with... Oh, that's light gray. That's cavalry, man. We get to play with the ponies. Love it. And we only got 1 unit of artillery. And then, of course, as is always the case, you've got your hex map that shows the terrain around Germantown. This is the Schuylkill River. You can tell I'm a local. I know how to pronounce Schuylkill. Spent about 5 or 6 years living just a few miles up the road. This is great, man. There's Wissahickon Gorge. Fantastic running trails there. If you're ever in the Philadelphia area, I highly recommend it. Plenty shady. Of course, my car got robbed there, broken into one time. Go figure. It's Philadelphia. According to the historical background on this, the British campaign in the late summer of 1777 has defeated George Washington's American army and captured Philadelphia. Why they would want Philadelphia is beyond me. What do we got here? The British dispersed their strength to hold the city, reduce colonial forts along the Delaware River, and watch the Americans who hovered nearby. Now, Washington saw an opportunity to attack the weakened British main body at Germantown. The multi-pronged American plan fell apart in dense fog. But a few breaks going their way would have endangered the British position in eastern Pennsylvania. So this is another one of those cases where Washington kind of got his butt handed to him. Oh, look, we're doing counter clipping. This is going to drive the Hex and Counter boys wild, because I'm just going to punch them out. Once again, George Washington kind of suffered a defeat, but managed to preserve his force to fight another day. He was kind of the Captain America. Remember that movie with Captain America? I could do this all day. Yeah, that old Captain America stole that from Georgie Dub. I'm going to pull these out, and we'll take a look at what the scenario-specific rules are. And that means victory conditions. Hex number 808, hey, that's got a special number for me, is the market square. I've actually been to Germantown, and I've seen a reenactment of this battle, kind of. A good friend of mine was in the reenactment troupe, and we watched it. He died right outside the Starbucks. Well, I mean, it's not perfect. There's a Starbucks there now. Cute little town, upscale, too much for a working-class stiff like me to afford, but nice place. Let's take a look at the setup. So that's the victory conditions. If the Colonials can have a unit in the market square or any one of these camp hexes at the end of the British turn, they win. So if they can loot the wagons or secure the square, they win. Now notice that in addition to the battalion pickets out here, all 3 of the British generals, Grant, Howe, and Kneifhausen, who's German, of course, are down here at the Rising Sun Tavern at the start of the game. So when the game starts, they're going to have to boogie on up and figure out who they want to be with. I've got Colonials coming in here, 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 and here. Now, notice that at these 3 locations, you've got a -2 to that initial roll. It is foggy to begin with. You don't have a -2 up here, so the main thrust coming down Germantown Road is going to be a little bit quicker. You do have Chew House here. Special rule, you can form square in Chew House, and then there's some special combat effects for that. We'll get to that when the time comes. Reinforcements are also important. On the second turn, the Colonials will get a big group. I actually threw all 3 Virginians up here. Remember, we have a stacking limit of 3, so they're going to come in up here at point B along Germantown Road. In addition, our 1st Cavalry is going to come in down here at Hex E, and then again, you're going to get 3 battalions of Royalists. Well, there's 1 German battalion coming in. I think that's at E. Yep, at 8 a.m. So on the British 3rd turn, they'll get 3 more battalions worth of reinforcements. So a little bit complicated, stuff flying all over the place, which is nice. It gives us a lot of things to think about. As I said, it is very foggy, so movement is... Normally, roads only cost a half a movement point per hex. They cost 1 movement point. Let's go ahead and start over here with our leaderless, kind of flanking weak maneuver over here. I've got 3 units... a light militia, and just a regular battalion cruising down Old York Road. I'm going to roll 1, 2, 3 to see how many movement points. Divide by 2, so it's going to be 3 movement points, 2, and 1 movement point. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1, and we're all strung out. Probably should have put a leader with those guys instead of bringing them on the end, because we really want them bringing pressure down here to draw some troops. Washington up here is coming in on a Limekiln Road, and with a 3+3, they're going to get a total of 6 movement points, more than they need. They're only going to come down here. All the more reason I really should have tried to boogie these guys down. Ah, well, it's too late for that. And then we've got General Green up here with just 2, not battalions, what are those, brigades? I mean, they're only going to get to move 4. 1, 2, now, oh, actually, they get 2 movement points, +3 for, well, wait a minute, is it +3? No, it's only +2. I think this 2 is, no, it's fog, so you get to add 3. So they only get 5, but they only need 1, 2, 3, 4. And look at that, they're stopped by the left battalion. Sullivan down here is going to get 2 movement points, add his 3, and they're going to run down to the Jaeger here, who are up on the heights. And actually, now, it doesn't cost any more to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to come at them from the heights. That way it negates their protection of the hill. I'm rolling for the small light battalion. They get 2 and 2, so these guys are going to stick together. It's going to cost 1 to come on and 1 to enter these woods. Now, these light woods are considered heavy woods, so you got to stop when you enter it, but they were going to stop anyway. We're going to run these guys across this way. The little brook here counts as a stream. You have to stop when you cross it. I don't know. Do I have to take a full turn? So I've entered the woods and I stop, and then it's going to take... I have to stop here again to cross, and then I can come... I don't know. I think it costs... I have to stop in that hex, and now they can move this way. That's how we're going to play it anyway. Now we get the fun of some combat. And we'll start up here with General Washington, who is going to be fighting with a total of 18 strength points versus 3. A +5, a +15 is really big. Something bad has happened to the defenders. Oh, you know, we're gonna have some focus issues on this one, so I can show you what the chart looks like, right? It's all defenders here. Trying to roll high. On a 6, you've got a DM, which means route check. Now, because that's just a battalion, there's something else that goes on. And here we have one of the special rules. A battalion is ineffective if forced to retreat, and that's about it. So, they have a morale of 5. That's one of the big differences here. The middle number here, the circled number, is morale. And as you can see, these guys have a morale of 5. Most of the colonial forces have a morale of, take a look, 2. Oh, you gotta roll that or under? That's a yikes from me. But for now, we have make a route check, or you are take a loss, which means they'll become ineffective. A route check means, yeah, so they passed the route check. And when you do, if you pass, let's see, if it passes its morale check, apply the secondary. If it fails, well, it passed, so the secondary effect is DX. Retreat or loss. if player chooses all units, let's see, if the morale check is, what do we got here? DM, route check, if it failed, the unit routes, but they've passed, so they are lost. Wait. Oh, if they succeeded, they route, but because they failed, they have to take the loss, so they become ineffective. But I think they also have to route, don't they? And then, because they, I think, flip to your side, if it has a line of retreat, remove from the map and set it aside. All right, so that's it. But set it aside. So the Colonials have... Okay. Do not subtract a bar is not eliminated. You just flip it over, okay? A routing unit acts that's bad for them. And then they have to... A retreat must discount the hexes. All right, I think I got it. You flip it over. Hey, you're not supposed to be flipped over 5. So we flip it over. And we retreat 1, 2, 3. And because he retreated, General Washington can step up. Then we come over here and we roll on this one, and that is just the opposite. You've got the same situation where you're fighting. Oh, it's actually not. It's going to be 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to be on the +9, so that's this guy. And DR is going to be a straight-up retreat. All units either disrupt or retreat 3 hexes. We're going to pull these guys back 1, 2, 3 hexes to there, to kind of combine forces and try to hold Chew House. They will take advantage and move that 1 up. That helps. And then we've got 7, 14, 17. We got a +14. Both of these guys are at +2, so it's kind of negates. So we are going to be at +14. We're going to be on this big whammy again. And another 6 is good for the Colonials. Look at that. Got to make a morale check. And on a 1, they succeed. If it's passed, apply the retreat or loss. If it's passed, the unit may take a loss. So he's going to flip over, and he's got a retreat. So he's flipped over to his 1, 2 to the Hobbs house. No, let's go ahead and retreat 1, 2 to there. Now, here's an interesting one. If they retreat to this hillside, can Sullivan pursue to Van Buren's mill, or do they have to pursue into the vacated hex? Because they'd really prefer to be in Van Buren's mill. I think because your guys have retreated, you have the option, and I think what we'll do is just, yeah, we'll put them there. That's fine. So that's it for the British first turn. What are we, about 10 minutes into the video? This might take a little while. You can see, this is the, what is this called? Mini game series from Decision Games. There's a lot more to it than you'd expect. I guess it'd be great as a 2-player game, but, you know, I'm a wargamer. I see a 2-player game and I think, oh, what a fun-looking 1-player game. The British now get to go. It's foggy, and they have some deployment rules that we got to deal with. The leaders here have the same movement rules as everybody else. They don't get to add their +3 to any of these units, but I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and 3rd Brigade is going to try to march to the market square. Oh, they don't make it. So we'll move them 1 square. They can move in. Oh, by the way, moving into buildings gives you +2 to defend that hex, but it costs 1 more movement point. It doesn't say whether it costs to move through it, it just says to enter it. So I think it might cost 2 AP to move here, or 1.5 if it's clear, or 1.5, but I don't know. Rules are a little vague. That's what you get when you have literally just 4 pages of rules. This is it, man. We'll bridge that gap. We'll burn that bridge later. We're going to go ahead and pull the Jaeger is going to stay here, and I think we'll move... Man. I think we'll leave the Hessians there. We gotta defend the camp as well. So we'll move the 1st Brigade. We get 3 movement points. 1, 2, 3. We'll move the 2nd Brigade. They only get 1. We'll move them to there. The 4th Brigade is gonna get 2. We're gonna leave them, well, all right, let's do this. They get 2 AP. Let's move them up to here for some heavy counterpunch. We'll move the guards. They're just gonna slide back to here. And then these 2 are going to move back to Chew House. They cannot form square. You have to form square at the beginning of your move. And then we've got 3 generals who Howe is going to be able to move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grant is going to be able to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the guards, and then Knifehausen is going to be able to move 6. So he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to here. Oh, that is important. So, you know, do they have enough AP to move there? 1, 2, 3. The other guys too. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And as you can see, there's no combat. Since they weren't in contact, I think these guys, since they were not in contact, they can recover. Let's see. If it meets the requirements of 11-1, which means they may be supposed to be disrupted too, but they can one during your own movement phase. One replacement step enables a 2-step. The unit must be eligible for march, meaning 2 hexes away from its nearest neighbor. And it can recover from disruption and whatever. Okay, so these guys both recover, as does this Jaeger unit that retreated as well. Hey, look at that. The pickets did what the pickets do. And they sounded the alarm, bought enough time to keep these guys from getting too close. And we move on to the next turn. Now, on this turn, the British are going to have their cavalry enter. And the Virginians are coming. Lock up your daughters, because we got General Sterling coming in with a whole bunch of Virginians. And they're going to have to kind of string out along that road, but that's all right. It's still foggy. As you can see, fog on a 1 to 6. And let's start over here with these light battalions. Irving's going to move 1. They're going to move 2. So we're keeping up with the Joneses. And then the Connecticut is going to move a total of 2. So 1, 2. General Washington is going to move up to 6 hexes if he so chooses. I'm inclined to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and assault the market square right now. We got General Green to deal with Chew House down here. He can move in. He only needed to roll a 0, which is kind of hard to not do. Now we got the issue with Sullivan down here. He's only going to be able to move 4 hexes. I kind of think what we want to do is come 1, 2, and we'll put pressure on Hobson House. These light brigade guys, the first guys are only going to move 1 to there. The second guys are going to move, they get 2 AP, but now this is what I was talking about. Can they move to there? That's what I want them to do, right? They were already in the woods. Did they already cross the stream, or does it cost 1 to cross the stream now? I don't know. I'm going to give it to them because these guys are so ineffective. They have to make a morale check to enter an enemy zone of control. The only thing left to do is figure out what to do with these guys up here. And General Sterling is doing a bang-up job. He is going to give these guys... oh, you know what? 5 AP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these guys... Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll bring them down here. And 5. Let's take a look at these buildings one more time. Buildings, 1 movement point to enter. Infantry defending the hex, add 2 to the CF. Oh, it only costs 1 movement point to enter. Okay, so it doesn't cost extra. Nothing to worry about. Love it. Yeah, I'm zooming in on the action. All you need to remember is that there's some cavalry coming down here on the British turn. Now we're going to handle combat, and we'll start over here, same as always. It's going to be a total of 7. It's going to be 18 versus the 1st Brigade. 18, and they are in a building, so they now have an extra 2 to their combat factors. It's going to be 18 versus 10, meaning Georgie Dubs is rolling on the +8 column. And on a 6, it's going to be the defender has to make a morale check, and if he fails, he routs. He succeeds, so we apply the defender loss. when a defender takes a loss, he takes a step loss. If it has a line of, let's see, it has no line of retreat, removed from the map. You know, the funny thing is, they stay and fight. Then General Green is going to take on these boys. They have a total of... Now, Chew House, I think, is still a building. So they're defending with 8 versus 9, 10, 11, 12. So this attack is only going to be at a 12. They're both on a hill, so there's no concerns there. It's only going to be on the +4. And the +4 column tells me that a 4 is going to be, DR plus a leader. All right, so that means the defender has to retreat. And we have to see if the leader is affected. Roll a die. On a 5 or a 6, the leader is killed. Check on both sides. Well, there's no leader on that side. On a 5 or 6, Green is dead. Okay, Green survives. But the DR means these guys either disrupt or retreat 1 to 3 hexes. If they disrupt, it's going to cost... Now, oh boy, here's the other question. Those are battalions. If forced to retreat, it becomes ineffective. So the primary unit was the regiment there, or the brigade, excuse me. And what does this mean? DR, all units either disrupt, so that's what we'll do. So they are now disrupted. And when you are disrupted, bad things happen. Specifically, what does it say here? Disrupted. No zone of control, variable movement, mid-on enters, halved when attacking, halved when attacking. That's the big one I gotta remember. Okay, moving right along, but they stood their ground there at Chew House, so you gotta like that. And then the only other combat down here is Sullivan bringing his 17 to bear against... Oh, they're up on a hill. That's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be 11 that they're attacking. And when you are up on a hill, there's a thing, hill hex. Where, are they in a building too? No, they're just on a hill. In the fog effects, it says hill hex +2 to the combat factor, attacking or defending. So they get an extra +2 because Sullivan is attacking in the fog. That's going to be a 13 versus a 17. So Sullivan is only rolling on the 4 chart, and on a 2 for the +4, it's going to be defender needs to make a retreat check. On a 5, and I guess it doesn't matter. It's the Hess is the primary there. He succeeds, and when this let's see, on the +4, the D. Is that right? Did I get that right? We're at 13 versus 17. So on the +4, it's gonna be make the retreat check. Otherwise, exchange. Each side loses a step. Okay. So the Hessians lose a step. And the Pennsylvania, whatever that 2 is, the Pennsylvania loses a step as well. And then Sullivan is still okay. So that's it for the attacks. Did we do all of them? We did Washington, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're done. Now it's time for the horses to come on. And they, let's see, what is it? March movement may not be used. Cavalry may not charge. Road is 1 movement per hex. 1 unit or leader at the beginning of the movement. Infantry, artillery limited to half the die roll. Infantry and artillery are limited to half the die roll. Leaders and cavalry, half the die roll +3. So this cavalry can move 6 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 3. Okay, so we got to decide. Are they going to run up here and try to chase these guys off? Bear in mind, we've got more reinforcements coming on next turn. I think that's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's go ahead and try that. Howe is going to try to move up to the 1st Battalion for that 1st Brigade, which he does. And I think, let's bring the 2nd Brigade. They're automatically going to guarantee 1 point. So let's bring that 2nd Brigade down over here. These guys can move 1 hex to here, so we can hammer at Washington a couple of times. And then Grant is going to move 1 space to there, and I think that's pretty good. Because we want to back up for these guys in case this goes south, and we need to be ready to chase them off. Because if they run down, if this light infantry, it manages to steal one of the camps, that's a problem. These guys are disrupted. They cannot be undisrupted because they are in the enemy's zone of control. So we'll start up here, I guess, and these battalions that are defending this hill, they're only attacking at 3. I think we're just going to hold tight. They're just defending. I don't want to risk rolling on a negative because that's going to lead to attack or retreat. So they're going to do nothing. And we'll go ahead and hit Washington first with Kniphausen is going to be bringing a total of 20 army points to bear on General Washington's... trying to force that bridge there, 18. So this stack of 3 versus that stack of 3, Kniphausen is going to be at a +2 altogether. And a 1 is not good for the Hessian. On a +2, the attacker is going to have to make a retreat check. And, well, the good news is, Kniphausen is like they got a morale of 5. So anything but a 6. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, look at that. So Kniphausen here has to retreat. Let's see, AC is retreat. Treat as, if it failed, apply the... What was that? We were at +4. It's going to be an, attacker. Oh, it did, but so if it fails, yeah, they got to retreat. How about that? Outnumbered. A retreating unit must move 1, 2, or 3 hexes. No MP are expended. Just count. Boy, it's a good thing. So he's going to go 1 hex to here. Washington is going to go ahead and follow up. Because now Howe has to decide, hey, am I going to attack with only 8 AP versus 18? Ooh, that could be a game breaker right there. Howe is not going to attack. He's going to have to wait. I don't see any way, because if you're attacking on the -5 or less, all of those are bad results for you. That might have decided the game right there. Let's keep going. Hess here has got a total of 8. He's got 15 attacking, 13. So he's at a +2. He rolls a 3, and on the +2 result, that 3 means the defender has to make a retreat check. And if he passes, and with a 2, look at that, they succeed. The worst guy there succeeds. I should probably start calling that out. And if he passes, that means we are at another exchange. So we will, oh my goodness, we'll go ahead and flip over. The Jaegers, yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. And that's it. That's all that happens. So it moves on to turn number 3. And on turn number 3, on a 1, 2, or 3, it's still foggy. It is still foggy. The British are going to get some reinforcements on their turn. We're going to roll for 1, 2, and then the third guy. It's going to be 3 AP, and then 3 AP, and then 2 AP. So these guys are going to go 1, 2, 3. These guys are going to go 1, 2. Then we've got... Anybody else moving? Yeah, these Virginians... Well, let's do Potter first. He's going to move to here and cross the stream. Small gets 3. 1, 2, 3. So they're going to cross the stream as well. The stack with General Sterling, he's going to get cut that in half. That's 2. He gets 5 movement points. So he can afford to go 1, 2, 3 to there, and then that Virginian is going to come. They only get 1 movement point, so they'll come down there. Boy, could have used the 3 there. If we could have brought them in here. Oh, look at those guys. That's it. We got to do some attacks now. Let's start with Washington. He's going to be assaulting the market square. That is 18 points versus 8. He's rolling on the plus 10. He only gets a defender retreat. And that's it. Defender retreat or loss. Ouch. I think we gotta take the step loss. Puts Howe all by himself. I think we have to retreat. Oh, that's so dangerous because now Washington can move into there, and now it's going to be beholden on the British to evict him, which might be tricky. We've got an attack down here. Sullivan is still attacking with 13 versus, now thanks to all their losses, that's going to be a 15. Sullivan, thanks to his loss, is attacking on a -2. Do we want to do that? We got to roll a 5 or a 6. We can afford a 4 too. Yep, we're going to attack down here at Hobson House. A 2 is not good. Attacker retreats. We're going to pull back to there, and they're not going to follow up. When you retreat, they must move 1, 2, or 3 hexes. There you go. That's all that happens down there. Let's see what happens up here at the Chew House, where they're going to get bombed by the... They've only got 6... 7, 8 because of the building, and they're getting attacked by 17, so we're at +9 on this one. A 2 is not great, but man, with a +9, a DX means the defender has to retreat or take a loss. I think we have to take the loss because, so that's a step loss, they become ineffective, but that there's a follow-up attack now, and that follow-up attack is going to be versus a total of 4. So General Green with 12 is rolling on the +8. It's that same one. A 2 is going to be defender loss. So we'll flip over the other one, and even though they're not in square, these guys are really holding out. I'm kind of impressed. But that's it. That's it for the British. Now it's still foggy. That's going to be a problem for the British now. With only 2 AP, if these guys can get into there, they're in trouble. But really, we got to move. 1 point is all it's going to take. These guys, with Grant, it means they can move up to there for sure. It doesn't matter what you roll. And then we got to find out how far the cavalry can move. They can move 4 AP. 1, 2, 3, and I think 4 will stop them right there. And that at least prevents these light guys from sneaking in the back door. And that's really all that the British can do as far as movement goes. They're in zone of control. They're not going to attack. So we got to try to evict. And here we go. Now it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be 18 versus 20, but we're at +2 because we're in the houses. So it's even Stevens. We're going to fight with... Who should we fight with first? Oh, you know what? These guys are going to move to here. They have to because we got a stacking limit. That's 15. This is 20, and this is 20. So 20 on 20. Even Stevens. We roll the 4... and that's going to be the defender has to make a morale check on a 3. What is the... Okay, now I need to check and see what the leader does for that morale check. His morale factor may be added. Okay, so they're actually, with Washington present, anything but a 6. So they passed their morale check, and on the evens, we got to check for leaders. Did Kniphausen die on a 5 or a 6? Kniphausen is dead. Did Washington die on a 5 or 6? He's not. So this becomes an exchange. The 4th Brigade is going to be flipped over, and the New Jersey is going to be flipped over. So our total is going to be 14 versus a 15. Oh, I'm sorry, 16. They're attacking at -1, but they have to do this. On a 5, the defender retreats. All units either disrupt. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to disrupt. Skadoosh! Because I think that wins the game. Victory conditions. At the end of any British combat phase, a colonial is the last to occupy the market square or any British camp. There's nothing he can do. He's used all his attacks. General Washington has seized Germantown, and even though he's surrounded, he's got, there's only 2 here. This is a major victory. We have changed history on this the day after Independence Day, and now, because we changed history, it turns out the American colonies have succeeded in securing their independence from the British Crown. This message brought to you from Alternate Earth YouTube. Hope you enjoyed my little 2-game special, showing you what Decision Games is like. That's a 1 in 36 chance. The only way that victory was going to happen on that turn is with a result of a 1 and then a 6, and Washington pulled it off. Completely ahistorical. Probably should have done a little bit more. I mean, these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they would have moved up. I kind of wanted to see what the cavalry could do, but they have a charge rule where they can go 1, 2, and it doubles their attack, but not if they're attacking in the woods and, the whole thing. So it's a fun game. I hope you enjoyed this half as much as I did, because if you did, you enjoyed it twice as much as it deserved. Wait. Bilbo's little speech there actually makes sense, but it's not a speech for the midwits. It's really a speech for the people that are smart enough to figure it out as they go. It's to speeches what these rules are to game rules. You got to think about it, and you got to cross-reference this chart with this movement, and it's all a little bit fiddly, isn't it? Maybe a little bit too much for me. I think I'll go back to something a little more my speed. Tune in next time to The Joy of Wargaming when we show you the joys of Tiddlywinks. Until then, I'm praying for you.